KO.
What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of TripleKO, and I think the crazy part about that is that besides our amazing, crazy guests like myself, Matt, and Maximilian, there's just too much fighting game news. We might as well be a fighting game news podcast at this point because there's just way too much fighting game news and we just cannot ignore it. We have to talk about it. Too much stuff has happened within a 2 weeks of lifespan. It's crazy, but how you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well.
This is a good problem to have. It's very good.
It is because we're in the cycle. We're in the cycle of news now. Like it's not going to stop for a while.
It's like this is like kind of the comeback of like the new golden age of fighting games. Right?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. We're in the next generation like golden age, right? Or new Street Fighter, new Tekken, potentially new Mortal Kombat, like Project L. New Fexel 2-3.
I don't know what that
boost.
Nuts and bolts.
Yeah, EX plus beta, right? So before we talk about like kind of the new announcements, a big event has happened, and I think one of the biggest things that was really cool about EVO Japan, and you watched a lot about it, Max. You made a video about it. Was Virtua Fighter 5.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, right? I think VF 5 likely had. From what I saw, I didn't get to see every single finals. Probably Melty had the most batshit crazy, incredible finals of all time, but I didn't actually see it. But yeah, Virtua Fighter's finals compared to everything else that I saw, at least on the finals day, between like Strive and Tekken and Street Fighter. Yeah, VF's finals on that previous day were wild. They were incredibly cool.
I watched them too. Like I watched the things. I'm like, I don't care about this game. I'm not going to watch it. Whatever. But VF. Fatal Fury Special and Garou.
Channel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Garou. Those are the ones I watched because I'm like, these are very rare to catch these live. So I was happy. But like Max is right, like Virtua Fighters was stupid hype. And it's been a long time since I've seen like tourney play Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
So did you know that there was over 800 entries at EVO Japan for Virtua Fighter 5, aka the game that is like dead, nobody plays it, nobody is on the cabinet. 800 entrants is kind of crazy for Virtua Fighter 5.
It's a weird thing because I keep up with some of the VF crew because the American VF heads are some of the nicest community in the world, right? There are some fighting game communities like I give the example of like KI, Virtua Fighter, and to a lesser degree like Marvel vs. Capcom, where these communities just love the fact that you give a shit in any way. We just love that people care. And there's like very little like toxic gatekeeping and all this stuff of like, you piece of shit, my game. Like all this nasty stuff that can kind of happen with larger communities and stuff, which isn't even their fault. But VF is one of those where it's like, oh, it's just so welcoming and wonderful. I'm trash at this game.
Our game.
But people are just happy to give you information and help you learn and like, oh yeah, I'll just help you. So this is so much fun. So
which is weird because Virtua Fighter gatekeeps itself.
Kind of.
Like the game just puts those walls up and you have to break through them.
Yeah.
So therefore I think the community has to be really chill to like balance it out.
And they are.
That makes sense.
And that's the thing where you get these communities that absolutely let's celebrate their game and love it that anybody is paying attention or giving a shit in any way, and you feel that like it feels like genuinely enjoyable. I'm playing this thing. I specifically every single time we were rebroadcasting EVO Japan, it was under special events most of the time, but as soon as VF came up, I'm switching that to Virtua Fighter 5 so I can inflate the shit out of those numbers.
Yeah, I specifically heard you say that when I was watching the stream, and I was like, people are like, why is there like 20,000 people watching Virtua Fighter 5?
You're
what game is that?
Right.
So
when you said 800, I was fearing the worst. I'm going to say there were over 800 viewers, and I was like, "Oh our God, are you serious?" But like, so I'm glad it was entrance.
I think VF even had with 800 entrants, like the third or fourth, like most attended.
Third or fourth, really.
It was up there. It was not.
It's not last.
It wasn't last
place.
or even last place. It was like in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty good. Like that, it just shows that like Japan still really loves like these older type of games, right? Like they come out, and obviously they had a million side tournaments as well at EVO Japan. I was watching a Mario Tennis EVO side
Yeah, there's some
tournament.
tech in that.
Like
huh?
that was crazy. You mentioned how like there was Garou and Fatal Fury, and these are official SNK tournaments. The SNK channel was the one broadcasting these games. So that was really cool of them showing that. They had King of Fighters 98 as well too. But there was no VF6 announcement. I think a lot of people were hoping and expecting. Even the players there that was being interviewed, like Itazan Zangief, who was one of the old time legends of Virtua Fighter history, was saying that he's expecting Virtua Fighter 6 to come out soon.
And this is what I was telling my chat too, where it's like there are a few fighting game franchises out there that are, I think, in the realm of reality, where it's like we can think about this having a future, and at some point it's going to exist. And the two franchises I think in that regard of just like we're getting this game eventually is VF6 and the new KI. I think those will happen. Like they're it might take a while, but they're actually, you know, on Earth 626 or whatever the hell we're on currently, right? So they will exist in this reality. But then you get like everyone's like, oh, Tekken's doing so well. Tekken 8, where's that new Soul Calibur, man? Oh, you know, well, there's a Marvel 3 tournament at EVO. Where's the new Marvel, man? This is going to be the new announcement. And I'm like, you guys are living on Earth 627. You're on the wrong planet. That's a different reality. So that there's a difference there, in my opinion.
Yeah, because everything we've talked about in the past, it's like Virtua Fighter is the last, I guess, you know, not counting Ultimate Showdown, is like the last holdout of the old guard fighting games that has not had like a significant new game in like since what, 2007?
Of the big old guard, like because Virtua Fighter was huge in the 90s and even the early 2000s. Like VF4 was a huge game. So even though VF5 didn't, I think, capture the audience like nearly as much as maybe as the previous ones, even though it's like the best game, it never really got its comeuppance until kind of like Ultimate Showdown, and then showed people that no, this works. People like it.
And people will like it more, Sega. If you're listening, you need to have a big cinematic story mode for the Virtua Fighter story.
No, you don't.
It demands it. Yes,
no, you don't.
Listening to this, man.
No, don't.
No, I mean, if anything, Tekken 8 will have a Virtua Fighter guest character, because
that would be super sick.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when I was watching, were just getting confused of like, why is Paul in Virtua Fighter? Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, well, there's skins in the game, right? Why is Lily in Virtua Fighter, right? So it was just kind of funny because even the players were using Tekken costumes instead of their main character costumes. So
I was writing like a script, so I didn't have it on my screen. So I was just listening to it, and they flipped over. I was so confused for like 5 seconds. I was like, wait, no, these are the crossover costumes. Okay. I didn't go insane, and they switched over to a new cross like title that they just snuck in there. But yeah, I did see people in chat as well, like amongst all the Japanese, you'd see like a couple English people here and there just being, what the? It was just really funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But another thing that happened at EVO Japan was they had a showcase of, we still don't know what the game title is, Fighting EX Layer 2? Question mark?
Yeah, I think it's it might be Fighting EX Layer 3. Like they skipped 2 because there was a weird version on Switch that we talk about every once in a while, the one that got rollback and no gogi and all that stuff. Yeah, Dash.
I downloaded it after the last episode. I was like, I need to get this. I haven't started it up, and I was like, I didn't even know it was free.
Yeah, it was free.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's
pretty much a light version of Fighting EX Layer on PlayStation and Steam.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a light version, just like the mobile version, just a light version. So it's free.
Another Dash.
People to try it out. But this one seems like there was a lot of effort, a lot of work, because there's obviously side steps, a lot of different weird cancels.
The side steps are like
the UIs and everything.
The side steps come across as like the big crazy thing that the game's going 3D.
It's not
though. Like the crazy thing is that there's like just defending and parrying and canceling and combo breaking and like what?
Just too much.
Air combos now. I'm like, dude, this is a completely different game.
Yeah.
The problem watching that footage though is just it still has that weird like completely lessened impact in its moment to moment fighting. When you punch and attack in Fighting EX Layer, it just doesn't have like a meaty impact to a lot of the hits. It's kind of like psh,
yeah.
there's lots of nice effects and stuff, maybe too many effects, way too many effects. But when I still look at it and I listen to the sound design, there's just something missing there.
I agree.
I mean, I still like the core game, but there's just something off in the way hits register and the accompanying sound effects. But still, it still looks super fun. Max, I watched your video when you're looking at the mechanics and you're just like, I just want to play a really fun, dumb thing.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
This without Gogi looks like that. So.
And that's what I was trying to defend, where it's like, I think Fighting EX Layer by itself was a fine fighting game. Like that didn't actually have all the crazy Gogi stuff that they tried to add this extra level on top of it, but I felt it was largely unnecessary because the core experience they had without all the Gogi activation was cool. It was neat. There was interesting juggle mechanics and the running and dashing, and not every single person in the world played fighting layer back in the day to feel that game, because the Street Fighter EX games didn't have like running and shit. You know, they were like boots on the ground type of games, right? So this is like, this feels crazy to me. So I kind of disagree with their Gogi stuff, which is why they went back on it. And now we're getting an even nuttier game doing even nuttier stuff. Did you see that they literally have like Drive Rush? They just have
Drive Rush.
They give each character 7 pips as well of green shit. So every character gets green shit now, and it starts full at the start, just like Street Fighter. But then, like Guilty Gear, you burn it out and you're done. So they want you to use all of it per round. I'm like, this looks cool, man. This looks like a goofy, fun game.
And air combos. That's the most important.
Yeah, just straight aerial raves now. Like the teching out of air combos and stuff was wild. Like it almost looked experimental, you know? And that's the thing where it's like, is this gonna be all in the game? Because they're only showing good old Terrell and Alan beating each other up. So I don't know how far this is actually gonna go.
It's always only 2 characters, but I don't know. Like it has to be an update. Just because Harry's in there, you know?
I asked Guile Winquote, who was there at EVO Japan playing it, and he's like, I don't know what it is still. He's like, I went to go talk to the Arika representative. It's gone. Poof. Threw down like a smoke bomb. Just
anyone
disappeared.
could just steal the game.
He's going to turn to him and say, what is it? What is it? And there's just no one to answer any questions at all. Yeah. So he went away. It's really fun. I don't know what it is yet still. And it's been like what? Like almost a month now since they've shown all this gameplay.
A little
Who
bit.
does this?
Yeah.
Who shows tons of gameplay? Doesn't say what the hell it is.
48 minutes of gameplay. Small tease at the title at the end. Like, you guys need some marketing directors or some shit like that.
I mean,
they absolutely do.
It's still the best YouTube title. It's just like timestamp. Like, this is when it's upload 2023 till 331.
Please be that. I want that to be the actual name of the game. It's called Fighting EX Layer 2023/03/whatever. Like, that'd be hilarious.
So before we continue any further, we wanted to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, which is Honey. You might remember them from a few times in the past. This is the easiest way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. And thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes across the internet can kind of be a pain. And that is a thing of the past, because Honey is a free shopping tool that scours the internet for promotional codes and applies the best ones to your cart. I know that it is Easter currently, and we are having either children or nieces or family that need to get candy and stuff like that. Have you guys used Honey to possibly get Easter eggs and or chocolate or candy?
Thanks for asking, Max. Yes, actually, being an uncle myself and my wife being an aunt, we are set to bring some gifts and chocolates to our niece and nephew this coming weekend, or, you know, depending on when you all hear this. So we actually used Honey to save a bit of money off on their gifts this year. So we got them like this like Easterish coloring book that's also Paw Patrol themed. They love the Paw Patrol, so we're gonna get that for them, and along with a bunch of chocolates. So we were also told their parents about it, that they can use Honey for themselves as well whenever they need to get the little ones all their gifts, because they need to have a memorable Easter. So that's what I've been using it for lately.
Yep, we were in a similar situation, myself and Jessica. We were trying to find stocking stuffers because we're getting like Easter baskets and things prepared for a big Easter egg on the backyard with Ripley and her friends. And yeah, Honey saved us quite a bit of money and was able to save on all these things that are normally really small, but you add them all together and it's quite a bit. So yes, just imagine shopping and you just click checkout. You can apply coupons immediately with Honey. And if Honey finds a working coupon, you'll actively watch the prices drop in real time. So it doesn't work on just desktops. It works on your iPhone as well. So if you want to activate it on Safari or on your phone, you can save on the go. And if you don't have Honey, you could just be straight up missing out. And by getting it, you're going to be helping us out with the show and supporting us here at TripleKO. So get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/TKO. That's joinhoney.com/TKO.
Going to Capcom news, I mean, this was a big controversy topic. A lot of people talk about hitbox controllers. Obviously, I think that's something a lot of people are buying now. They probably already own. They want to try it out. They want to switch over.
Yeah.
So yeah, Capcom announced a new ruling in place. A lot of people were really upset about it, and even Hitbox at first was like really upset about it. They made like kind of like a pretty passive aggressive post, like we think this is the correct way and everything. But over on the end, they compiled the rules and the changes. If you write in the old Hitbox, if you press up and down at the same time, your character jumps up.
Yeah.
Capcom says we want you to be in neutral. So because of that, it did nerf charge characters. But people are saying that it did buff motion characters based off that. So yeah, that was like a whole controversial topic about it. But I mean, I'm a joystick player, so that never really affected me as much.
Yeah, I feel like this is a sensitive topic because so much of the community is playing on different types of controllers anymore outside of just a rarely default controller and, arcade stick, that you're going to get people from all spectrums of life having different types of keyboard controllers and mechanical controllers and all this stuff. And I think I speak for all of us on TripleKO that you have to respect everybody that tries to play a game a certain way. But what really needs to be said about control stick players, arcade stick players, controllers, like anybody that's using these other sort of like leverless controllers, that they all have feelings and they feel the way they do. And it's a controversial topic that is hard to get around. And you know what we say here has a dramatic impact on what's going to happen on the community. So I just want to let everybody know that, right? Everybody just needs to know that specifically, that's how we feel. That's how all of us feel. So I don't want to confuse anybody. Number one, I don't want anybody to be confused about what I just said. I know it's a lot to take in. But since this is such a controversial topic and it feels like we can take sides, I just want to let everybody know our side. Mm-hmm. So on to you, Matthew.
Yeah, I concur.
Exactly.
I concur.
You can vote for us
everything.
in November.
Yes. I feel no strong way, one way or the other.
Yeah, just
planet's neutral.
Play what you like. Is ultimately when it comes down to in the end. But yeah, it seems like it's fixed. All the controller companies are up complying to the rules. I don't know if this affects like other games because other companies didn't really give a shit about this in general. Like Namco didn't say anything about it, or Arxis didn't say anything about it. SNK, they're like, oh yeah, whatever.
Real talk, it's because Capcom is trying to set like a precedent because there's a couple $1 million on the line and somebody might get killed. Like there's a lot of money suddenly on the line. So like
the stakes have literally never been higher.
yeah, exactly.
That's true, right?
So it makes sense that they're trying to do this right now before like we've even started to establish like a basis of what is okay, what is not okay.
Yep. And then we also had lots of footage, a developer match with Cammy versus Manon. This was pretty cool because I think from Cammy trailer alone, everyone was like, yeah, Cammy just looks so amazing, looks so good. But I was more like into like hoping to see what Manon was able to do. And yeah, she's definitely a grappler. The damage increases every time it goes up. But overall, I still think Cammy kind of stole the show.
Yeah. She's like the fan favorite. I kind of forgot that Manon, because living in a place where French is predominantly spoken, Manon is always how I say it. I don't know what the announcer says at the end of a match.
I can't say that.
Manon.
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 Man on.
I kind of forgot that she is supposed to kind of be a grappler, like, because that's what her main gimmick seems to be, like you just said. So, but watching her, it's like, this is one of the most unique characters like we've seen in a while, where it's giant 7 foot tall ballerina grappler fashion model.
Dances with you.
The dances
that
with
super is
you.
so good. I love that super.
Like, this reminds me of a character from like a really weird, obscure fighting game from like 1994, like from Knuckleheads.
You know what it is? It's like a
yes.
It's like a Skullomania Raging Demon, where it's just random, like kind of like scenes happening type of thing. That's what it reminds me of. You know,
her super, especially. It's like random scenes.
How am I supposed to get hurt by doing ballet dance moves? Maybe my toes, because I'm not used to it, but you know.
I think it's because of the mental damage. Like, that's where a lot of it comes from. When a person's being danced to death, like they're not taking physical hits or not really hard ones, but it's the mental damage. Like Cammy, pretty hard edged character, right? Like I'm like a straightforward assassin. So someone just starts dancing her to death, and she's taking a lot of mental damage there. I think that's what results in the KO. You know, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. You know, Honda sumo wrestler starting to do ballet. He probably can't even do those type of moves in general.
Yeah, but yeah,
I'm actually, you know, thinking about it, I'm actually excited to see those supers, like kind of like seeing how the character sprites look like when they're in that level 3 animation for each character, because some of them,
right,
like Zangief and Blanca, they would look hilarious doing that, right? So,
or it's like any Street Fighter 4 super where someone gets smashed into the camera and you look at their like dumb faces. Classic stuff. But yeah, it was a really sick video. I can't believe last time we talked about these developer matches, we completely spaced. All three of us collectively forgot that DJ and Dalsim had a developer match like 3 months ago.
Oh, that was like the beginning, right?
That was kind of when they first started doing them. Then there was like a long break, like 2 or 3 months, and then like we had forgotten about it completely.
Dude,
so I wanted to correct that. No, well, the people in the comments didn't forget.
Well, okay. Everybody on Twitter was like, yeah, so we'll probably get Dalsim next. And I'm like, yeah, I want to see some Dalsim. And then now you were reminding me, and I'm like, oh, it happened already.
It happened and forgotten.
Right. And then speaking of Street Fighter 6, I guess there was a possible Street Fighter 6 open beta announcement leak. One of the people that gets invited to the Capcom Japan shows that they stream on YouTube, he pretty much kind of said that the open beta is coming out, and he thought it was announced already, but it wasn't announced at all.
He said it was for like the end of the month or something this month.
Yeah, casually streaming Dead by Daylight. I'll just let loose a bunch of Capcom marketing plans. Why not? You know, amazing. What a hero.
Yeah. So it obviously does suck, because when leaks happen, it does suck. But I mean, everybody has been dying and wanting and praying for an open beta. And this is probably the best time to do it before the game launches, and to kind of test, you know, a server stress, or a stress server test, right? Because obviously more people will be playing. It might get kind of crazy. Like, the lobbies will be pretty crazy if an open beta does come out.
And I mean, this kind of seemed like a sure thing that they would do eventually anyway, because Capcom putting out demos for big things lately has gone very well.
Yeah.
You know, like with RE4 and stuff. And like, anytime I see a comment, like either on anybody's YouTube channel really, or even on Twitter, everyone's like, I hope Street Fighter 6 is good. And I'm just like, well, didn't you play it? Like, no, like, you know, only so many people got into the closed betas, duh. But I just forget about that, because I've played it twice now. And I think if they do it, and it seems like they are, like, they put out that a few weeks before the game comes out, like 2 or 3 weeks, like, they're gonna sell way more copies, because people immediately see how good the game is.
Yeah, it impresses early, especially when you first start like just playing it. It leaves a very, very good first impression. So that could just be a part of their marketing efforts, and also to polish up launch, because clearly it seems like Street Fighter 6 could have launched in February, and they're waiting all the way until June. So there's a lot of polish that's going in there, and I think they're having one more pass at how the hell are we going to make the launch actually function without people getting funky server errors.
They still have that one bug. And the last closed beta, like every time the stage starts, there's like this little green square right before the stage starts. So it's like green literally a green screen square just on the car. So that was still there
Weird.
last time. So yeah, it's kind of like a bad ROM in ST and has a little black box and stuff like that. But yeah, hoping there's an open beta. But do you think we will have more than the original 8 characters that has been currently playable?
I think it still might be the same amount, but they might switch out like 1 or 2 characters.
Pretty much. Yeah, I think there might be like obviously Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li, Luke, but then they'll swap some other 4 more characters out or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'll be pretty cool. Maybe they'll switch out a Guile, like he's kind of
putting Cammy.
I don't think they'll. I think they'll save Cammy. I feel like they'll put a Blanca in there. I think they'll put Blanca in there for sure. Cammy, everyone's like, oh my god, Cammy, I can't wait for Cammy. So they're like, no one's gonna know. Like people
don't give away Cammy for free.
Yeah, don't give away Cammy for free. Pay for Cammy, you know, pay for Cammy. But something else came out today, I guess, or yesterday, which was surprising. A new Street Fighter live action movie / series in the works from Legendary Pictures. How do we feel about that?
It's something.
It's more than something. It's amazing. It's more content to make videos for in 10 years, saying like, look how bad or good this was. Hopefully on the good side. The only thing is that like that gives me, even though there's no details other than Capcom and Legendary saying, yep, this is going to go forward, but absolutely no creative people named, which you kind of want early, but it's fine if not, is that at least Legendary has has adapted things well. Like Detective Pikachu was under their production banner. The Pacific Rim, all the recent Godzilla stuff, blah, blah, blah. There's more than that, obviously. I think they did Dune. They were the production company behind Dune and stuff. So, like, I'm confident that they'll attempt something. I'm not sure if you guys saw my tweet, but I think literally the best thing to do here is make Street Fighter 1. Start off very slowly and have Ryu and Ken training, getting older, join the World Warrior tournament, Sagat's the big bad, show a giant silhouette of Bison looking over, and then cut to credits.
Yeah, I think having Bison and even the tournament is a bit far out. You don't even need to do that. Like,
you don't even need the tournament.
That's their essential like Avengers squad getting together with like all the characters. If you focus on too many characters at a certain time, you essentially get like disastrous things like Street Fighter the movie, and Street Fighter 2 the animated movie is the only one that handled it kind of well. I think it should be what Assassin's Fist tried to do, right? Mm-hmm. Where you should focus on Ken and Ryu. These two guys growing up, learning this fucking ancient martial art or some shit from some crazy old guy, and he gets murdered by Akuma or some shit, and then Akuma's the bad guy, and then there's a teetering teaser of like, you know, now we have to test our shit at this big tournament held by, you know, some drug lord. Yeah,
but you need some way to shoehorn in 2 or 3 other characters.
Oh yeah, no, I think you can.
Like Chun-Li.
Chun-Li's guaranteed. We already know Chun-Li has to be guaranteed.
I feel like you can.
She had a whole movie for herself.
Yeah,
but it should be Chun-Li like hunting down Bison and trying to find information on him. Akuma could have some sort of connection to him, or he fought his ass or something. Like there could be so many elements that you tease towards like future ones. The problem is like jumping in the river before you get your feet wet, and you have to like get your feet wet a little bit because people don't know the fucking story of Ken and Ryu. No average human being just knows that it's the red guy and the white guy, and then you have like the Nazi bad guy is like the main bad guy. That's all you get out of it. So they need to start slow. Like, what even is their backstory? Why should I even care about these characters? Like, who taught them? Why were they taught? There, like all that shit.
So they said like this encompasses live action like movie and like a TV, like it could be on TV as well. So they're really, really announcing this early, which happens, you know, not too rarely that there's a big public announcement. But I think a good way to handle this is that it should, just like 1994, there should be an animated project and there should be a live action project, and they feed into each other a little bit. Like you could have an animated prequel series and then the live action movie continues it, not in such a way that you have to watch one or the other, but one gives an extra bit of context or something just to cover your bases in case one of them sucks.
Yeah.
You know, make it like if you spread it out a little bit and make it animated, you know, put on Netflix, like something akin to like the Castlevania show, which, you know, broke the video game adaptation curse years ago. It wasn't The Last of Us, but, yeah, like when I saw this, I was just pumping my fists. I was like, someone's like, oh, but Matt, won't this suck? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care
I
at
like
this
it.
point.
I still like it. Like,
yeah. Any adaptation of any fighting game thing, like I'll watch it.
I care that it's good. I want it to be good. I could not watch
You're
Legend
boring.
of Chun-Li past 15 minutes. I could not handle.
You missed so much good lore.
I just watched YouTube.
I just rather watch anything that's fighting game related or video game related that I have a connection with. I don't care if it sucks. I'm watching it and I'm having a great old time.
Like,
support
it.
That's
That's why you're the GOAT, Justin.
Right? No matter what. Like that Resident Evil Netflix series, I love that Resident Evil Netflix series.
Hated that.
See, I know a lot of people hated it, but I loved that. That was amazing.
Okay. Well, you're no longer the GOAT.
All right, okay. As long as Akuma sells fruit in the movie, I'm completely fine. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Right. We just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped, for sponsoring today's episode of TripleKO. Manscaped is here, and I know I haven't been talking about because the last couple of Manscaped that we've been talking about beards, but this time it's my time to shine. My balls are here to shine and shine some light, right? Because there's no way we can pass over this Easter season. They got the tools to give you these beautifully decorated eggs of your dreams. Just because it's Easter doesn't mean it's okay to hide those bad boys behind all that tall grass. Make sure your downstairs lawn is mowed and get yourself feeling as sweet as candy by going to manscaped.com and getting 20% off plus free shipping with code TKO. Guys, I just need to ask, how are your balls doing? Are they colorful? Are they happy? Are they shining bright like a diamond right now?
I'll answer that, Justin, because they are quite luxurious right now because I've been using my Manscaped kit over the last month. Been using the crop preserver, the ball deodorant, because, man, it gets stinky down there sometimes. So it has been a godsend. Literally has saved my marriage.
My beard is doing great, Justin. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, and don't forget the Lawnmower 4.0 is also waterproof and equipped with an LED light so you can keep eyes on those eggs even in the dark. Glow in the dark eggs, baby. It's time. The Easter Bunny has dropped off an extra special gift with the performance package by adding the upgraded Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear hair trimmer. Obviously, when you get older, we got our nose hairs and ear hairs. They're coming out of us. We're like a tree, right? And don't forget, it also helps reduce nicks, snags, tugs, and in those delicate nose and ear holes. And don't forget, guys, also, like April is Easter, but it is also
Testicular
Cancer Awareness Month, which is a serious topic. I know we joke around a lot, but this is serious, right? We have to protect our balls. Manscaped has partnered with the
Testicular
Cancer Society to bring awareness to
testicular
cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. Manscaped is also committed to raising awareness for the most common form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35 and giving support for fighters, survivors, and families impacted by
testicular
cancer as part of their We Save Balls initiative. Right? So if you want to help out, you can save 20% off with free shipping with the code TKO at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code TKO at manscaped.com. Hop into the best deal of the year with Manscaped.
So 12 Tekken 8 trailers were released since the last podcast, yeah?
They went the whole SNK route. Every week they have like a new trailer. Tekken 8, here's a new character coming out and everything. So since the last news roundup that we did, there was Xiaoyu, Leroy, and Asuka. 3 characters, but I think Xiaoyu was she playable in the Tekken 8 alpha build?
She was,
yeah, she was, right? Okay, but the other 2, I think those were EVO Japan announcements, and there was also hands-on experience. And Max, you were on Tekken Talk. What is Tekken Talk? What is Tekken Talk?
Did you talk about Tekken?
I did talk about Tekken. I found out the day of when I was down there. They're like, "Hey, come in here. We're going to record this thing." I'm like, "Okay." So we did this whole thing where we talked with Michael Murray about a bunch of Tekken stuff, which was cool. A lot of stuff that we did say on there did not end up making it, which is fascinating. I won't say exactly what it was for confidentiality, but there was a lot of playable Tekken 8. I got about 2.5 hours in total to play, and Kenny and Seep went down there too and got to grind out a whole bunch on the game. So, I mean, if you have any questions, AMA, Tekken 8, about anything, I can likely give you a good answer if it doesn't come down to specifics like what's the frame data on Jin's down forward 2.
Yeah, I don't care about the frame data, right? That's
I
already
care about
like
gone is
that's
gone
way too
in it.
that's way too advanced. He's gone. Gone is gone. But I was watching this IGN hands-on thing, and the guy talked about like execution's easier, like Mishima's electrics are easier. So yeah, I guess that one, like what makes Mishima's electrics, the thing that was super hard, that's expert to do, easier to do.
Wait, this is outside the new control scheme? This is just in general gameplay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this.
So it's not like a full blanket cover, everything's easier. For example, when a Mishima, a Jin Kazama, or a Kazuya, right? When they are in their heat mode, it alters some moves, abilities, strings, combos, stuff like that. And one of them is the electric. And the electric is not just frame timing anymore when you are in heat mode. So for 10 seconds, if you don't cash out the heat mode and it's gone, right? Your electrics are much easier to do. And I noticed this because I was playing Jin, I activated heat mode and did an electric, and I got it on like on one of these pieces of shit PlayStation 5 controllers,
oh,
right?
wow, just doing it with the
so
thumb.
I was like, oh God, really? So I did it again. I got another one. I did it again. I got another one. I looked at Mike Murray and I was like, did I just get 3 electrics in a row? And he's like, yeah, they're easier in heat mode. I'm like, oh, so even my super shitty like PlayStation 5 thumbs were able to do 3 electrics in a row. Only in heat mode. And I think there are some like, stance cancel things where Jin does like a crouch cancel after certain attacks that it felt like electrics were easier to do. Yeah. But in general, like electrics are really powerful as punish tools and in neutral in general. And outside of those like heat mode moments, no, they're the same shit. They're just as difficult. So anybody that actually has execution is not going to be, chained down by having to do them only at certain moments at certain times. You'll just be able to do them whenever. So that still greatly beneficiates execution over than accessibility,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. The fact that, because I am terrible at doing electrics, and that's kind of the reason why. Me personally, I never wanted to learn a Mishima in the first place because they were just hard. And I think this helps a lot because, I mean, they are technically the main, like, kind of characters of the Tekken lore.
They're the Ryus and Kens.
Yeah, so more people are going to be playing these characters and activating heat mode. So when you do electric in heat mode, does it take a portion of heat mode for doing electric or no?
I don't think so. I don't think it did. The heat mode will generally alter like a lot of things character does, similar to a V-trigger or instinct mode. So when they're in heat mode, they become kind of like a different character. Frame data sort of changes. They become more offensive, all that kind of stuff. But they also have heat mode attacks that are like 5 unique heat mode attacks that allow you to do stuff after, or if not, look super flashy and act as big ass combo enders and shit. This is the stuff you see in the trailers. Those take away a chunk of heat gauge.
Yeah.
So you have to manage your heat gauge with certain combos. You can cash it all out to get a big combo, or you can keep it to keep more offense. Long story short, a lot of concern was like, our combo is going to be shorter in Tekken 8. There's a lot of like, are we going to keep the screw and then this bound thing, or we do have to choose between one or the other? The answer is no. The answer is like, no, there's even more things. Like combos are even longer. Then I did a goddamn Jin combo at one point, and Tasty Steve was over here like trying to rip my arm off. And I did this thing with the launcher with Jin combo fill into I think I did combo fill into heat smash. Boom, they're on the ground again. Tekken 6 bound, and then I pick them up again. Another combo fill into screw attack. Boom, they go flying towards the wall. Screw attack, go to an ender because I want. Oh, actually no, I can do a demon paw. Run forward after another thing, and then screw attack to the wall. Push them towards the wall. They bound at the wall, but guess what? There's higher wall bounds now too. So I do re-wall wall splat, and then actual ender with the heat smash, and then I actually kill with rage drive. Bitch combo did like 79% damage or some shit. I was like, holy hell. But it was like perfect scenario, perfect lining of like the moment, right launcher, right damage, and you could get some wild and shit if you get that opportunity. But a lot of stuff is different than Tekken 7. You can't carry towards the wall nearly as much anymore. Okay. So most combos go up now, making combos easier to do, but they don't go that way.
Yeah, they don't go forward.
In Tekken 7, they all go forward, giving you instant wall almost like at any given touch if you're mid-screen, you know? Now it feels like the stages are generally bigger, and the wall is like
I noticed that.
Further away, so you're not going to always be getting the goddamn wall damage, which is what has dominated Tekken, especially since like Tekken 5, you know? Yeah. So it's still there, 100%, but it's like a unique scenario, unique situation, because when you get the wall, it's even like, it feels even more damaging than it's ever been.
Yeah, that makes sense, because like that is the hard execution stuff with like kind of like dashing one and having that perfect dash into another dashing one and everything like that. So the fact that characters are launched higher now, it's definitely more of like, okay, like people can have an easier time doing their combos. You can't just kind of like pressure somebody in the wall automatically, because I think when you're at the wall and if it's that easy to take somebody in the wall, the round is practically over at that point. So I guess they wanted to take that out, unless if you want to do that, you have to use all your resources, or it has to be kind of like a kind of like last minute like comeback scenario type of situation where you have to use your ray drive, you have to use all your heat drive. So it's kind of like an X factor to gain that opportunity to smother somebody at the wall.
Yeah, and that's now a good way of putting it, where it was almost like a checkmate situation if you hit the wall in previous games, and making it out of that, it was like, oh god, you know, because you're going to get resplat again into the wall type of stuff. There's a lot more things that have like power crush too, because there seems to be more moments of like hard pressure in Tekken 8 where you have to like make hard guesses. Similar to sort of like a Virtua Fighter situation, which is funny, where in VF a lot of people were complaining when watching VF6, where's all the spacing and stuff like that? These guys must not be playing at a high level. And it's like, no, dude, that's how Virtua Fighter is played at the highest level. They play like this. They don't play like here or here. They play here. And that's Virtua Fighter is nothing but constant reads and guessing, and that's what makes it like intimidating to some people, that you have to make a rock paper scissors kind of like guess 3 times a second. So it becomes kind of like daunting. Tekken isn't that. Tekken's a game of like punishing and stuff like that. So it's weird that they get this sort of Virtua Fighter-y element where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna force you in with mechanics and have to aggressive and sort of make you make these guesses at certain points. But we didn't really get to investigate all of the options that you could do after blocking this thing, and they run in and they get all these plus frames. Don't know exactly everything, but there was power crushes, you know? Power crushes were way more prevalent, it felt, and led to more stuff in general in Tekken 8 compared to 7.
Something I wanted to ask Max is that in a bunch of episodes before any of us went hands-on with it, now that you have, we were all talking about Tekken's been mostly the same since like Tekken 5. Like the general mechanics of the things have been added. Having played it now in combination with the heat system and like just graphically, do you feel like this is an actual step up? Like this is a different, or is it still really similar to the old ones?
So there's still a lot of Tekken 7 in there. If anybody's gonna ask like what Tekken what should I play to get ready for this, it's Tekken 7. Like all the fundamentals you learn from Tekken 100% will apply. But in the same way that's like Street Fighter 6 is a vastly different game than any Street Fighter before. But what do you play to get good at Street Fighter 6? 5. You definitely want to play Street Fighter 5 because close range pressure is like almost identical. Like how you shimmy, like throws and all that kind of stuff are very similar. So you have to get used to how pressure works in Street Fighter 5 because it's kind of the same in Street Fighter 6. Tekken 8 is the exact same thing, where it's mechanically a vastly different game. In fact, the most different Tekken has been since like Tekken 5, I would say. And so we are getting something that really feels like that predecessor from like Tekken 3 and 4 to Tekken 5. There's like a jump now. And now we're getting a game that is way more mechanically deep than any Tekken before it, just on like a core mechanic level, because Tekken's already super deep, you know? All that stuff is still there. And I feel like that's my only criticism, because it does feel different. Characters are doing new things. Combo routes are not the same. Things look different, which is great. And that's what I want. Things just need to look different, man. It's been 3 games now, dude. Come on. Right. In Tekken 8, there is there is a huge like jumping point with all these mechanics, and I do feel that it is truly something kind of very much different than at least what you're preparing for in Tekken 7. But if you're good at Tekken, you're going to still be good at Tekken.
Legacy skill.
I was going to say it earlier. I was like, here comes the legacy skill mention.
Yeah, it's there, but this is the biggest shakeup likely that it's had in a very long time.
For character, like, was Nina in the build that you played?
Yes.
For any characters that have like a new gimmick, like her guns, were you able to like play any of those characters a bit to be like, yeah, this does change them up a little bit?
I fought against them. Yeah.
Okay.
Nina can like use her guns in neutral.
Oh
no shit! It's like back 3-1 or something like that. It's just a string that's used for combo fill, but you don't need to do it in combo. So she can literally shoot guns in neutral.
Do you take chip damage?
I don't. So that's one thing I wasn't able to really pay attention to. Like all these things on the chip damage, I just really wasn't paying attention to the health bar until I was like done with combos. But yes, the chip damage is substantial. Like it will, when you're in heat mode especially, it does a lot. And then any generic low is going to take away that chip damage. You know what I mean? So that creates a different dynamic to the game of like lows are even more important than kind of they ever have been. So the only thing I will say that is a criticism, it's a lot, right? Like all of this stuff on top of all the legacy Tekken stuff, on top of all these new mechanics, on top of chip damage, on top of like new bars and gauges, it's a lot. I love it.
It's a lot to take,
I love it. I love it. It led to the most like magical 2 hours of just like, what the fuck is possible? Of just like, we're still finding stuff. Everyone's still just going, what the shit is that? Like there's a lot of great moments that come as a result of it. But I feel like for any of their efforts of like really bringing in casuals and doing this stuff, I think like if you're trying to bring in your casuals by mechanics, they're trying to change what high level Tekken looks like by doing this stuff is what their overall effort, their goal is. Because yes, asking like the press to come in and start doing all this heat shit, and it just ended up being, dude, just mash R1. It just press R1 and you do cool stuff, and that's eventually what it boiled down to. So it took a bit of time. It took a bit of time to like, erase some stuff from the previous game out of your head and start doing new shit. And now you're heat smashing, heat dashing, heat raging, heat engaging. Like it started being pretty sick. And I was like, this feels like a very different game.
Oh, that's cool. Did you see anybody play, June? She hasn't been back in the game for a long time.
So I played a very little bit of her, and I fought against her a very little bit as well.
Okay.
Her gimmicks are that she can use her life to do more damage, and she can also regain health.
Oh, she's Elena. Let's go.
So she's more like Mira from Killer Instinct.
Yeah, Killer.
Where she can like use her energy to like apparently dish out more damage. I was told this by the devs as I didn't play her a ton, but they were saying like how they retooled certain characters and made them as unique as possible. And that's her thing. All those magical effects that happen in her trailer and stuff like that. Some of those like enable like a life regen or, cash out more damage if you use it. So she has some wonky stuff.
Damn, yeah. I think the only character in Tekken that had something like that was probably Yoshimitsu with the kind of like haunting thing with the sword, like trying to kamikaze or getting health back when he's sitting down. But actually used in attacks, that's definitely new for sure. So I'm glad that they kind of gave her kind of like an identity like that, because obviously they did announce Asuka, which is kind of like similar moveset-ish, kind of like, if I'm like old generation to new generation.
Kazama style.
Yeah, Kazama style, right? So
and now she gets some kind of buff at the end of combos where it's like if you end combos a certain way, she like does a pose and shit, and now she can do like wild like volcano tornadoes on the ground and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's coming from or whatever, or maybe because I think on the website it says something like she was like with Lily the whole entire time and
just hanging out.
So maybe Asuka learned some of like Lily's fight style, which is funny because it's kind of like this is literally the Sakura and Karen of Tekken, right? So that I'm hoping Lily comes back because I'm a huge fan of Lily. I don't see why not, because since Asuka mentioned her. Maybe Lily also have learned some Kazama moves too, which would be pretty darn awesome.
It
yeah, I mean,
definitely
Lily's fairly popular.
It reminded me of like Claudio, and Claudio in Tekken 7 at the end of certain combos, he goes like voiceover, and he like pulls a piece of energy or some shit, and he's allowed to do like, his giant lunge punch type thing, this crazy ass move. It reminded me of that, where at the end of certain combos, like he could do that, and now it's built into Asuka with a whole bunch of stuff and probably results in a whole bunch of new things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's actually kind of crazy.
I did want to go down a list of characters trying to remember who wasn't in Tekken 7, right? And see if we can like possibly throw out some bets on who might be who could come back. Well, here we go.
Okay.
Christy was not in Tekken 7.
Christy was not in Tekken 7.
Right. Bruce was not.
No.
Bayek,
yep.
Wang.
Is he still alive?
It's fighting games, Justin.
Nobody knows.
Nobody's dead.
It's fighting. He'll come back to life.
Both forms, doesn't matter, but Ogre in general.
Yeah,
Ogre. Both vanilla and ancient.
Jinpachi.
Yes, Jinpachi. Raven.
Technically
because Raven's just been
Raven got replaced technically. Yeah, Raven's replaced.
Angel, Alex, Roger Jr., P-Jack, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
Michelle Chang. That's very true. Like it's just been Julia for the longest time. Dr. Boskanovich, of course. Forrest Law, and like it's like he's not coming back for sure.
A lot of dupe characters in here. A lot of clones.
Yeah. Okay, I on this list, Sebastian.
I think Sebastian was Lily's clone in Tekken Tag 2.
Wow.
I don't remember Sebastian, I'm going to be honest with you.
The only reason I know this is that I played Tekken Tag 2 over the weekend, and Steve plays Lily in Tekken 5 and beyond, and he was using Sebastian, and it's just Lily.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the same, he's got the same dainty pose and everything, too. It's like her butler.
Okay.
Is there any, I guess, characters that resemble those characters you mentioned in, like, currently Tekken 7?
Yes, Josie.
Right. Well,
Josie is Bruce.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Josie is Bruce. I think Eddie's in Tekken 7, so I guess Eddie is Christy.
Yeah.
Even though it should be vice versa. It should be the other way around.
And your Sum Harang is going to be in the game too, so I don't really think they'd have.
He has to be in the game.
In there. I would want Roger. Roger or Alex in there. I want to see them in an amazing Tekken 8.
Yeah.
What if you don't get Roger or Alex, but you get a new animal?
I'll accept a new animal
because I feel like you had in Xiao Yu's trailer, they definitely had a panda like character in the background, kind of like a Rufus in the background, just don't come back type of thing. We might have a new animal.
I thought
shark from Fighting EX Lair.
I thought a shark as well for some reason, but then I was like, no, how do they do that? That's stupid.
With boxing gloves on.
Give him feet.
He has no legs.
No, he gets feet now because of Dr. Boskanovich.
If Tekken had to do a new animal
street
character,
shark.
what would it actually be? Like and like think about it,
realistically?
Realistically, a kangaroo and a bear make the most sense because they could stand on their back legs.
Gorilla.
Yeah, fucking gorilla. Arada. There's a fucking gorilla in Tekken 8. Make it happen. Come on.
A gorilla.
Gorillas can fight easily.
Yeah,
they can.
That's
the Mishima gorilla. Yes.
Wow.
He's got a little bionicle helmet on and shit. Like, yes.
And Kuma got fired and got replaced by like Mechanicong here that we're describing. And then like Kuma's out for revenge. Like, I want my job back.
I feel like Max describing what's that? Who's Killer Gorilla from Injustice? What's his name?
Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, that's what you're mentioning,
dude. But not smart. No, he goes. He's like a crazy monkey, right? He's a crazy gorilla. So I think you absolutely imagine how much virality Tekken 8 would get if there's
just animals.
The game of pandas, bears, velociraptors, and kangaroos introduces a brand new animal from planet Earth, a goddamn fucking gorilla, and he just walks out and like does some grunts and beats the shit out of Lily.
I'm so surprised there hasn't been like kind of like an Unga Bunga character like at this point. Like there's the Unga Bunga term for fighting game is just so valid. It's just like, can we get an actual Unga Bunga gorilla at this point?
Yeah.
Or we could just have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as DLC for Tekken 8.
Goro.
Goro.
Let's put in Goro from Mortal Kombat.
How does he come out? How does he get in here?
Just put in Goro. He's a guest character.
He's Goro. There's
Because
portals. The thing with Mortal Kombat is that there's portals.
I guess it's portals.
That was definitely like a big topic of conversation with like the devs, and in several points was like guest characters. How guest characters had a huge impact on Tekken 7, and the devs 100% knew it, and they've acknowledged it several times. This is just like cementing that confirmation that T7 became as big as it did through several factors that was also guest characters. So they are well aware, and they were even asking us like what characters we would like to see as guests in Tekken 8. And that was a part of our Tekken talk, but as part of confidentiality, I will not say who mine and Rip's character requests were, because I think they were taken out of the final interview.
Oh, man.
So just so nobody gets their hopes up in any specific direction, but they were open to feedback and suggestions regarding that stuff. Like, hey, what are you guys excited for?
All right, so Max said full gore from Killer Instinct, of course. Of course. Full gore. Yeah.
I would love Wolf Hawkfield from Virtua Fighter being like the Virtua Fighter and like have a long running program with King.
That'd be cool.
They just cut promos on each other, and Wolf is like, "Oh," and then King's like, "Wow."
I was thinking the same thing, where it's like, man, if they did VF, like which character from Virtua Fighter would actually make it? Like which one?
Jackie.
And I Jackie's like a high likelihood, but I don't know if they would do anybody but like Akira.
Jean.
Yeah, Akira.
Jean.
No way.
Wait, Jean could be like every Mishima.
Dragunov. Exactly.
No, isn't it? No, Go. Go is like Dragunov.
Go is Dragunov.
Yeah, Go is essentially Dragunov, and yeah, we have Leo and technically
Vanessa.
Vanessa's pretty unique. But really in terms of overall, like, this is the first time Virtua Fighter and Tekken are crossing over. It'll likely be Akira, man. That's probably going to be.
No,
doesn't put the asses in the seats, Akira.
I know. But neither does like Go, you know?
No,
most
of course
Virtua
not.
Fighter characters don't put asses in seats, but at least most
they
people
put asses out of seats.
At least most people will know even who Akira is. It's like, oh, it's that old Virtua Fighter guy.
No, they're gonna like it's Ryu.
Yeah,
they're gonna say it's Ryu.
Exactly.
Yeah, Wolf is mine because at least it's like, okay, let's just assume there's not going to be another wrestler. Like, let's assume there's not going to be Craig, for example.
I think Wolf is a great bet. Like more wild wrestling style characters, or does
El Blaze?
Yeah, or that's another good example, because does Wolf impede too much on what King already does?
He does a little
bit. They're very kind of outside of the damn mask, right? They're very similar, like hybrid wrestler characters. And then you get actual luchador wrestling like El Blaze, which would be pretty interesting, but nobody knows.
There's no luchador in Tekken.
There is
none. Yeah, but nobody
knows who the fuck El Blaze is, though.
It would be kind of hard to do like luchador moves in Tekken, just because
you can
like
jump off walls and shit.
But it's just, I guess, like based off what Max says, like walls are like hard to get to,
it's true,
right?
Too.
So it's like kind of hard to have luchadors because they need like a wall or like a rope to jump and stuff, right? Because they're high flyers. Maybe Hakan. Maybe Hakan. Oil wrestling, you never know.
It's different.
You really got to start thinking of like what possibilities they're going to be searching into, and the chance that another Square Enix collab could be happening is very high. Bandai Namco has collabed with Square Enix on their last two big 3D games, because Nier was a Square Enix game made by Platinum, and then obviously Final Fantasy 15. So yeah, the chance of like a Final Fantasy 16 character, the Clive, just with he has a sword, who gives a shit? Just they did it with Noctis, who gives a shit? Like they could just do that too.
Just put in one of the 3 bouncer characters from the bouncer.
That's
the big Square.
That's a sound take.
No, there we have the animal Chocobo. It's a chocobo.
Yeah. Chocobo, just claw your eyes out.
Square Enix not going to have a chocobo get blown up by
Tekken 8 Chocobo.
Jack 8's like railgun laser. Nuke this bird.
You know how they show like the little like silhouettes of the characters, like parts? You can see the beak and the hair. It's like, oh, it's Chocobo.
Not bad.
Man. All right. That was okay.
So Tekken 8's exciting. There's like a lot of stuff on the horizon of just like, where is this game going to go? But I think the bigger question everybody had at the end of that play session, so this is coming out soon, right? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, it's almost done. You know, it looks great, plays good. You know, oh man, it's ready to come out. So I don't know, man. Like everything that I've seemingly engaged with people in non-official ways leads me to think that no, bro. So this game is early. Shit is very early, and it seems that the roster is going to be bigger than we all think. Because even Markman was saying that at Tokyo or EVO Japan, that he's got confirmation from Harada that y'all are lowballing the roster size. So who knows if it's anywhere close to 30 characters or more, that's insane. Because this
might
game
be like a Tekken Tag situation then, huh? Like
it might. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna end up being that big, but at least at launch, 30 characters in a game where you are remaking the animations and the character models for every single one of these characters in crazy
giving them
high
new
fidelity
gimmicks too, like guns and shit, like all that. Like everyone's getting something.
Everybody's
like,
getting completely retooled. Like, okay, that's expensive. And I will echo one thing: when you see this game, it comes across as the most expensive fighting game I've ever seen out of Japan. Like, it reeks money. Like, I see the money they put into this, at least on a visual level and like a gameplay level. All right, yeah, they're not lowballing this. This isn't like a little arcade project anymore, because even Tekken 7 was a low budget game for the most part throughout most of its existence, because it started as an arcade project, right?
True.
This is not that anymore. This is like a hero title for Bandai Namco to like cement their place in like the next generation. It's Tekken 8. So they are really they're putting a lot of goddamn budget into this, and especially if they're doing that for like that many characters at launch, it shows. Now the question will be, will they put as much equal budget into the online? We have no idea.
The online or modes in general.
Exactly.
Like, I could see them doing all this fancy stuff with characters, but then like maybe skimp out a little bit in other areas.
And I wish I could tell you, we have no idea, dude. Like there's
at least there's a confirmation that like Arika is going to be helping, right? That they did do rollback for Fighting the Slayer.
Yeah.
So at least they have someone that is an expert at rollback to help out and try to make Tekken 8 online good.
And that's my that's my kind of huge thick brain prediction, is that Arika was brought on board to help out with Tekken to essentially retrofit rollback into Tekken 7 as like a testing ground so that Tekken 8 could get it as well. And now thinking of like how far out are we? Or maybe a year from this game existing, like actually being a thing. So there's a lot of time in between there where there could be announcements about Tekken 7's netcode, or like a last patch to Tekken 7 that addresses that, to really solidify that stuff without actually having Tekken 8 there to mess around with stuff. Leave him alone, kitty.
Yeah, I know, right? That cat's trying to listen. It's trying to down claw you right now.
That's my huge brain prediction, is that Tekken 8 might actually get some big netcode consideration because Arika's on board, and we might see that in the form of Tekken 7 early on.
Yeah, it would have to be next year for sure, just based off Tekken 7 is still part of Tekken World Tour for 2023 to 2024. So at least like until the end of the Tekken World Tour, like March 2024, when Tekken 7 is finished, that's when probably Tekken 8's announcement of possibly the dates are coming, and this game will be out, and then maybe EVO 2024 will have Tekken 8 as the first. Like,
I think that's almost a guarantee. I think that's almost a guarantee.
It seems like they're going to announce all the characters, save for like DLC or guest characters, like well before that. You know what I mean? Like. It almost seems like, let's just get the roster out of the way first, and then, because if we're like a year away, we're what, 8 characters, 9 characters in already?
Here's some goofy math, right? Okay. So we're 12 months away. We've already seen 12 total characters for Tekken 8.
It's a lot,
It's a lot. Even if we were 12 months away and they did a brand new character reveal every 2 weeks, that's 24 total characters that could be shown, which probably won't be that many, but still that puts our roster around the mid 30s, like a 36-ish kind of range, right? So like maybe
that's
around
a really
there.
good roster,
And that's a good roster. But I don't think we're going to get that many new characters. Like maybe towards like the final months before reveal, there might not be that many more trailers. So even by like 8 months in, if we got 2 characters a month, that's like 16 characters on top of 12 characters. That's still like 28 to 30-ish maybe characters, which makes sense. Like wow, actually this lines up. I don't think we're getting a new trailer every single friggin' week, but I think a couple a month at this pace I feel like that starts to line up, even if we're a year away.
Yeah, and they you still have to think about they have to work on their story mode, right? Obviously, they love their story mode. Tekken 7 story mode was great with Akuma and how he fit in the story. How it's still pretty good. It's still cool.
It's a decent effort.
Yeah, and how are they going to top that?
I don't know if I got direct confirmation, but like I was talking to them about the visuals and stuff like that because Mike Murray was there and kind enough to let me just grill him about stuff. And I was saying how like good the game looks now. And he's like, yeah, we fully transitioned over to Unreal Engine 5 and it looks great. Like I was like, wow, this is crazy because there was talks of UE5 early on. So I'm like, yeah. So like a lot of people were saying that opening trailer was like misrepresenting the game, and I thought it looked good, but I don't think it looks as good as this. I think this actually looks better. And I definitely got the hint that like, yeah, that Jin versus Kazuya thing is very much like it's in game, but it's story. It's a story sequence. Like that's probably how the game is going to fucking start because they're wearing their older outfits. You know, it's probably like back like a year before what the main events of Tekken 8 are or some shit, and that's probably how the game's going to start.
And we have to trust you because of the three of us, you've played it out with your eyes and like, like whatever the TV setup was there, I have to assume it was pretty good.
It was good.
So, and we said in the last couple episodes, like, I'm warming up to the visuals. The last trailers looked really, really good.
They're coming along.
And so like that first Jin Kazuya one, we've talked about this before, but to me, there was always something off with it. I still think it looked good. It just didn't look exactly like Tekken. It was weird. It was hard to describe my feeling.
It might have been before they were even in Unreal Engine 5 because
it's possible.
For example, like Jin isn't doing any of the new wild shit he has in that trailer, in that story sequence. He's like older Jin, which makes me it's a lot like the Kazuya versus Heihachi fight at the beginning of the game where Kazuya's a little boy and he gets his ass beat by his father. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like, oh, this is just a story sequence where it's like older Jin, older Kazuya, not doing any of their new shit, and they're fighting it out on a big lightning tornado or something. So I think visually it's one of the best looking fighting games I've ever seen in person. I think artistically it's not the best. I think that goes to Street Fighter 6. I think right now Street Fighter 6 has a better art style when it comes to its stuff, but in terms of like raw fidelity, like visual cranking, I think Tekken 8's a little bit better looking.
If you take similar-ish stages, Times Square in Tekken 8 and the Metro City alleyway in Street Fighter 6, you still look at some of those background characters and you're like,
oh yeah,
still a little rough. But we've talked about it before. But whenever we see in day or nighttime the Times Square thing, me having been to Times Square, I'm like, it feels like that.
Yeah.
It feels that busy, that
a lot of
multi-layer.
depth to it,
It's a lot of depth, exactly. Yeah.
It's just so funny that they use Times Square in the game because Street Fighter 6 also has Times Square as well too, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tekken 6 had Times Square with the balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That was that stage.
Yeah.
It was like the Times Square parade or something like that. Yeah.
It's pretty popular.
Tekken 8 is looking to be a really exciting game. It's looking to shake up things more than many Tekkens have since going back to like Tekken 5, which is wonderful. And we've needed this. We needed things to look different, and it does.
We needed this.
I don't think it's going to make every single Tekken player super happy, but that's kind of the thing when you're shaking things up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They are actively aware that we are changing the formula because the formula has been aggressively similar from Tekken 7 to Tag 2 to 6 to 5. It's been aggressively similar. So they know they're shaking things up.
No, that's good. I mean, we're pretty much going to get more Tekken news as the weeks go by. One thing that was really cool that SNK dropped the bomb. SNK did a lot of announcements before, but before that, Kim is officially out, and he was playable at EVO Japan. Max, you also had some
Super
time with
fun.
him, and he looks like just from you playing him and doing the combos, he looks super combo heavy.
Yeah.
Like lots of juggles,
lots of tricks
like
too. He got a new move that you can jump
flip,
in the air, and I was like, what the hell is this good for? And then I realized you can cancel it into dive kicks. I was like, oh shit. So it's like anti-fireball. I'm like, oh my god, you just whoop, and people figured out new stuff where if you're close range and you do it, it auto corrects the dive kick to the other direction. And I was like, oh god, like this is disgusting. So Kim's gonna get nerfed eventually. He's coming out super hot, kind of like a Rock Howard situation where he's damn good. And I had not played KOF in a while now, and I was even feeling that, dude. I was like, this stuff all feels very good. Like light confirms out the ass. He has everything, dude.
And bouncy pants confirmed.
Bouncy pants. Yep.
Confirmed.
No KOF 14 pants. No, he's got those pants are animated.
Yeah, Mai and Kim have a lot of similarities.
I think what's really cool about just I think what's really cool about Kim is that like just seeing people playing him and everything, everyone's already saying that he's automatically top tier.
Yeah, he's good.
Good.
Yeah, SNK loves that whole pay DLC thing. Like, you pay for a DLC that's gonna be top tier and top tier good. And Kim seems to fit that build. So that's really cool. Also, that was really cool that they announced for King of Fighters 15 is we talked about it and finally it came true. The fact that we had Rugal for free.
Boss
they
Rush.
are doing it again. Boss Rush. Next character, Gonitz for summer 2023.
Boo, I hate Gonitz.
You don't like Gonitz? Who did you want? Who did you want?
No, I hate him because like he was always a pain in the ass to fight in SVC Chaos. Like just one of those characters I hate fighting against.
So those hurricanes and typhoons, that typhoon.
No, he's fine to actually put in there. I'm just like, I just hope he's not as unpleasant to fight as all.
I want him to be hard
as possible.
Yeah,
make him so fucking terrible.
Please.
Like, if I'm putting that on the max difficulty, it better be the max difficulty.
Yeah, because Rugal was a disappointment. Like he was too easy.
Sure.
Like I was really upset. So I do hope Gonitz is like super annoying. You can't get in. He just zones you out. I hope he just zones you out and it becomes like an obstacle course to get in. But I do love. I guess this is going to be a trend, right? Free DLC boss characters moving
every
forward.
season.
Every season seems like
I'm glad it's what we were hoping for, and it took a little while, but they got it done. So
yeah,
they got
that done.
Who's the next boss they would add, like Makai or something like that?
Orochi.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It would be Orochi.
I think Orochi would be next. Like, because you went from 94, 95 Rugal. Now we have to Gonitz 96, 97.
And Orochi's 98.
Oh, Mr. Big.
Yeah. Mr. Big.
Boss Mr. Big.
I don't know. I mean,
Orochi Mr. Big.
I mean, I'll be down, but that's good. That's a lot.
It's just that he's the most 90s video game thing in the world. Like, my name is Mr. Big. That's it.
I could see Orochi Iori / Orochi Leona become a boss rush character eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
They also had their April Fool's joke that they're adding rollback to KOF 13. It was really funny.
Oh yeah, that was because it did
crazy.
come out on April 1st. Yeah.
That's what everybody kind of wants, and it's crazy that it's an April Fool's joke.
King of Fighters 13 global match, April Fool's joke, aka not. That was really exciting. I was like, literally,
cool.
I'm mad tired. I'm like watching EVO Japan. I'm like, like dozing out,
Nodding off.
and all I see is like King of Fighters 13 rollback, and I just instantly woke up, and I'm like, really? They were able to do the impossible?
Yeah.
PS4 and Switch.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's a
that
weird combination.
Crazy weird.
I don't get that.
It didn't even say Steam. I was like, wait,
Steam already has it.
Well, Steam has KOF 13, but it's not the global match is not coming out for Steam.
Yeah,
but I assume whatever technology is going in a global match, they'll just update the current.
Not currently.
13.
No, there's no Steam rollback.
This is a
confirmation
new SKU.
at this point.
This is not the
PS4
I know
and
it's a
Switch,
new SKU, but they might just take new SKU on Steam and just add whatever functionality that they're putting in a global match into that version. Just trying to explain the weirdness of not making a Steam version is all.
I hope so.
No, I don't. I mean, I think what you're saying is all of us hope, but that is where the eternal confusion is right now. Of just like that's why all the PC players are kind of pissed. Where it's like, oh, the PC version of KOF 13 is the best version by a long shot. and we're not getting it.
No,
so
it is weird.
Yeah, I was like PS4 and Switch. They're gonna make rollback for Kingdom Hearts 13 on the Switch,
and they make it a point to say PS4 and not just like PS5 because you can play a PS4 game on a PS5, but they're not even saying that. It's weird messaging. Maybe it's because it's just a little bit early. I don't know. Nice that it's on the Switch. Cool, that's great. But at the same time, it seemed kind of weird considering how loved 13 is.
Yeah.
You'd think you kind of put it out on everything you could.
Yeah. It's not even really early just because like the open beta is coming out in summer. Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully not June 2nd. But yeah, it's coming out
June 1st.
It's coming out pretty soon for open beta.
It'll come out the same day as the Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising beta, the Dragon Ball Fighters rollback beta, and the also now KOF 13 beta. Oh, good.
Yeah, all the betas are coming out during summer, but I think it's a pretty good confirmation that all these versions, new versions of the game, possibly playable at EVO. Pretty high chance. Yeah, pretty high chance for that at this point, right?
No, I was just gonna say I was told some people are like, yeah, new characters. Are you insane?
For 13?
Yeah, I read some people were like complaining like, oh, there better be some new characters. Like, no. Even though SNK is doing better now than ever, one new character in the 13 will bankrupt them a fifth time.
You are drunk and high and shitting and pissing, and you are so disconnected from reality if you think KOF 13 is getting new characters.
I think people just want to play King of Hearts 13 forever. That's what it comes down to.
I think you could get like a new version of a character, like an Orochi variant or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe, but that's the best case scenario.
Ultra Street Fighter 2 situation.
Yes. Yeah. Violent Kyo.
Violent Kyo.
It's
Violent
Kyo 1, Kyo 2.
Of like all the KOF games that needed to get retrofitted rollback, that's classic. It's 13. 13's a great game, but it's not my favorite KOF. Like I really got attached to 14, and I'd even argue I like KOF 14 more. Just like mechanically and character wise, because
mechanically, of course.
Unfortunately, the roster in 13 is not great. It's one of the weaker KOF rosters in general. I mean, but it has a couple of great mainstays.
It's better than 12s, but I mean,
exactly.
I can make a fighting game with a better roster than 12s. So.
Yeah, and that had to build up to something, because off of similar assets. But Shen is in it, and he's super fun.
He's so cool.
There's definitely like, if there's a way that people should support classic fighting games in some way, and you want like one of the pinnacle ones, classic 2D games like Guilty Gear Xrd, right, as well as KOF 13 have now been retrofitted with rollback, right, or are being. So support them. Just go out and buy them because they are wonderful to have.
No, yeah, SNK has been killing it with working with Code Mystics, bringing back rollback for literally all their games on Steam, like King of Hearts 97, Garou, Mark of the Wolves, Last Blade 2, 2002 Ultimate Match, and possibly more in the future. But they are going back and giving rollback to all those games. So definitely support, because they finally brought back 13 that everybody wanted, and maybe they'll probably even do more rollback stuff in the future. But please fix matchmaking. Thank you, SNK. But
another beta we're gonna be playing pretty soon. The KOF 15 crossplay beta is and then Sam Show is also getting its rollback official release according to that trailer. Jesus Christ, man!
Yeah, this month I think this month is the official release of the rollback. I know the rollback kind of failed, or like a lot of people were finding issues like the last month and whatever. So hopefully there's a lot of fixes. But Code Mystics does a really great job with fixing things super fast. I think the biggest thing about that trailer besides 13 is probably they still talk about Garou 2 furiously in development.
Furiously in development.
Like, why that word? Why is it? Why that word?
I think we're going to see it by EVO.
I'd like to think so, or at least like gameplay or whatever at EVO. But I think we talked about this the first time it was revealed. It's like, what are they even going to call it?
Yeah,
like Garou 2 Furious.
I was going to say Garou 2 Fatal Fury.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's what makes the most sense to me to attract both crowds versus the Dreamcast release, which was Fatal Fury Mark of the Wolves.
Yeah. Maybe Garou 2 Fury of the Wolves. They can keep it traditional. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
like
we're seeing
they
that
want
game
that
soon. I think
Garou legacy. Yeah. So why is Andy dressed as King?
it's weird.
I thought Andy
KOF.
looked like was dressed as young geese.
he's cosplaying.
Really? Well,
That's what it
why
looked
would
like
you
to me.
cosplay as geese?
Yeah, it looked like he was cosplaying as like young geese. That's what it looked like.
Like, to scare Terry?
I don't know. And I mean,
He's
Give
like, "Boo."
Terry a big frighten? Like,
Terry looked pretty traditional. Joe looked, kind of like Joe. He had a slightly different costume.
you know what's interesting? It's that's a really similar, not exactly, but it's really similar to his Garou 2 sprite, where he was a background character
I forgot he was
cheer
gonna be in
on
there.
to cheer on his student. Like, he's wearing like a little jacket, like he is wearing. It's a different color, but he's wearing it in the Garou 2 art, like
That's
the
cool.
new Garou 2. So I'm like, oh, I hope at least that black dude with the pimp ass jacket that was in the sprite thing. Like, I don't know what that character's name is. I don't think they're named, but that guy looks super sick. And I'm like, oh, please let him get in there at least. The one that the Streets of Rage 4 guys redrew.
so
I really want him in there.
yeah, that'd be cool too. Because I mean, we definitely would love to see new characters, because like there's so many characters in the background that look like they could be playable characters in a previous or future game.
It was more confirmation that Garou 2 is going to remain more traditional Fatal Fury roster, right? Just by seeing obviously Terry and Rock, which isn't surprising, but getting a couple more characters, so they're like older characters and not just like new heads, like Kushnad Bud isn't in there, or Rodrigo, what's his name? Marco Rodriguez. It's not those guys as of yet, right? No, they're like, oh, here's Joe, here's Andy. Like, here's some stuff that is a bit different.
Yeah, because in the previous art, it had Rock, Kane, and Billy as well. And I'm like, Billy was never in like Garou 1. It wasn't even mentioned, I don't think. So him at least showing up, I'd assume he's playable. I'd really like to see like a completely different take on Mai, the Garou Terry version of Mai. It's like, surprise me with whatever. I don't really care, but like it'd be nice to see her. It'd be nice to see, like, I don't know, like an even older Kim or something like that. Like Big Bear or Raiden has gone through a third gimmick change, and now they're like a completely different guy. I'm like so excited. I've never been so excited for something I couldn't know the least about.
Listen, furiously in development, okay?
It's furiously.
Yeah, furiously in development. So this one was interesting. A lot of people were confused. I was also confused. Multiversus was a beta game, and now it finally. Now I guess it's turning off pretty soon until 2024. So yeah, I thought the game was officially out. Like, I thought it was like one of those like betas that like it becomes a full game, kind of like Marvel Snap. Yeah.
And Steam Early Access type thing where it continues, I thought that was like that. Just keeps developing. But I guess not.
I guess not. And then people spent money on it because obviously you can pay for like kind of little trinkets, level up faster. So I guess what happens to that? I don't know what happens to that.
That's
it
for
burns
sure.
the most, right?
Yeah.
I went. You don't have an account for Multiverses, do you?
No, you do. You do.
You have like a
Wouldn't
WB
it make
account.
sense that could possibly carry over, though?
Oh no, they confirmed all that shit's carrying over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, that's at least something.
Don't worry, it's not being deleted, but it's just that people will not have access to it for like half a year or something once it goes down.
So you're still you paid money or put in work for something you still can't play for however long it'll be.
They're trying to soften the blow where it's like, okay, it'll all carry over, don't worry. They're trying to soften the blow where it's like, you can still play it offline, right? You can't play it online in this time frame, but if you want to play offline Multiverses, that will function. They'll be like the last updated version of the game. And it's like a couple months from now, it's going to go down. To me, this like, you needed to do this earlier. Number one. You needed to, that second battle pass definitely rubbed everybody the wrong way. And when they were trying to like push things out. So I learned a lot about this situation and scenario when it comes to free-to-play games. And this is not a weird occurrence where suddenly a free-to-play game is released and they are ready for like 10 to 50,000 people. And all of a sudden, millions show up and they're like, oh, fuck. So now a lot of their operations internally switch from active development to live ops, which are very different things. So you get these games that essentially are run on skeleton crews, like 10 to 15 people. That's absolutely what Multiversus is. I think they've said they're like only 12 people. Suddenly they're having to support an online functioning game when all their goal was essentially to gain interest, right? That was like the big goal for a lot of these games where it's like, oh, we don't have an actual full budget game yet. We don't. We're just trying to figure out, can we get the budget? Is there enough people that give a shit? And all of a sudden, oh, turns out a lot of people give a shit. Turns out it was actually fucking massive. And they were completely unprepared for that because they were just in the do people give a shit phase. We need more money, right? So this is what happens just a lot of free-to-play games in general. And I got a few examples from some people that have literally been financially backing free-to-play games, and they would run into this problem where they would not have the equity or the staff to put stuff into place to try to like add all this stuff. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense with Multiversus, where it's like WB's like, oh, there's too many people playing, you can't take it offline. No, you can't do that. Like, no, just we have to sell more stuff, make more stuff to sell. And they're like, we're 12 people, bro. Like that probably is exactly what happened with them. And then eventually the player numbers, the count started dropping and dropping and dropping because the online was getting worse and they don't have enough people to make all this shit work. They have to go offline. They have to do this shit. So all of the crazy efforts worked, right, to gain interest. The problem is they gained interest at the worst time.
Yeah, I thought it was like, I'm glad that like it's not closing down, because I thought it was like a Rumble first situation at first.
It's not.
Yeah, so I'm glad.
I mean, it's
I didn't get that sense.
It's not the game that I feel like I want to play a ton of. Like I played quite a bit of it, and there was never a character for me, and it always felt like a really slippery Smash Brothers. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game by any means. But still, they needed to turn it into a real game. Like it was almost like just a test. And yeah, we're kind of learning that was the case.
Yeah, we didn't even say it was like a beta. Like a beta is a different thing. A beta has like intent to, like it's almost done. Whereas like this is, more of a concept test. Like, can this be popular? Can this be sold? And, and they got that info, like you said. Can we launch
crossplay rollback game between all systems? Like there was a lot of online shit there too that was like, will that even work? So it did for a while, but now I don't know. Like it clearly has not been able to keep up.
Yeah, and it won fighting game of the year. Oof.
It did.
Like over 15.
Man. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but I mean, hopefully they come back with a bang, more characters, and kind of like something to give back to the players so people don't feel like they felt like they were robbed the wrong way because of the Season 2 Battle Pass. But yeah, we'll see what happens as the future comes. I think the craziest news that I saw was that there was a Project L banquet held by Riot in Japan during EVO Japan. And I was so jealous, not gonna lie. I was very, very jealous because there was so much information that Gamer B jotted down, and he got Chat GPT to translate, and there was lots of great stuff. Obviously, they talk about gameplay. They confirmed that the game will be free to play, but that's something that we can obviously, guess that it was going to happen. Yeah. Unfortunately, the game is still far from the closed beta, so this is still probably like one of those games that's like invite only type of thing. I think the craziest thing is that we did talk about character roster, but they said they have over 140 League of Legends characters and a 2v2 system, infinite possibilities of character combinations. That is going to be apeshit crazy.
Well, 140 characters to choose from.
Yeah,
8 characters at launch.
But even then, it's just like, is this going to be the largest fighting game roster of all time?
It could be, like when all is said and done, and they've updated it for years. It certainly can. Outside of like fan games,
outside of Mugen games, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that about any Marvel vs. Capcom game, where it's like we have a roster of 750 Capcom characters and 1,147 Marvel characters to pick from. We have the biggest potential roster. That's like saying that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, let's hope that Project L doesn't have a Multiversus situation or something like that where they stop at like 8 or 12 and they are able to expand forever, because that's what they said in that too. They want to keep expanding the same title.
I just assume that they have a really good metrics on which of the characters in their base game are popular.
Of course,
then, like what are the most popular, like 50, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
Now let's look at that 50 and say which ones really lend themselves well for fighting games, and then just choose based on that. That's just what I assume. Because there's a handful of League of Legends characters where I'm like, I know that character. I saw someone cosplay that character once, and there's a shitload. I'm like, I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, me too.
She has crystal fox tails. I don't know.
That's Ari. I mean, I know. I like Ari. That's because that's the character that I want to play for sure on like day one launch. Compared to like, because I know a little bit of League of Legends characters, but she's probably my favorite of all time. So I'm just happy that she is on the initial roster of launch, most likely. So that's pretty cool. They did talk about the attack, like the button schemes. Like there's 3 attack buttons: light, medium, heavy, along with other combination keys.
LMH,
so that's probably
It sounded like LMH special.
Yeah, LMH special, and then maybe an assist button as well too. So it could possibly be a 5-button game. At this point, I don't think there's any motions. I believe they took away motions. So
we knew this was going to happen, man. We knew.
Yeah, it's going to be easy special inputs and everything like that. But I still think, based off how it is, it's still going to be super fast paced, super hard to like master, but probably really easy to get into because you can do like the cool special moves, because people want to do like these attacks that they play in regular League of Legends, right?
Yeah. If there's already, I'm not worried about the motion inputs thing, because once again, League of Project L is not based on an existing fighting game franchise, so they can choose what they want to do. They've suddenly
no template.
If KOF 16 came out and there's no crazy horseshit inputs that it has, then I think that would be disappointing, because that's what KOF is about. Like that is a big staple of King of Fighters. But
pretzels.
Yes, exactly. So this game doesn't have that. There's no precedent from before. So it's like, I don't think there's much room to complain, because they're just setting what they want to do. Like Power Rangers and DNF Duel are wild, crazy games with a lot of execution and no motion inputs, if you don't want to. So
for sure.
It'll be fine. Trust me, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I guess something that is a little worrisome is that obviously, besides the game, people are talking about like how the esports environment will look like. And they said there will be a limit on official tournaments and community tournaments that you can use Project L to organize. So I'm not sure why they mentioned community tournaments, just because like I would think that anybody could just run a Project L tournament if they wanted to.
I don't think it works. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it works that way for Riot things in general, right? Or if you want to run like a Valorant tournament or a League tournament in like any larger capacity, don't they have to have official involvement? I don't know.
That sounds possibly true.
Yeah, like, so even like, let's say, so like, how there's so much online tournaments these days for like Strive and other games. I'm just hoping that those people, if they want to run a Project L tournament without official support, just to run a tournament, I hope they're able to do so.
Yeah.
Without having to kind of like apply for a Riot like approval, just because, I mean,
this sounds very Riot-y though. Yeah.
Do I need an approval to run an 8-man tournament? Because some tournaments will have like only 8 people and stuff like that.
Max, just basically what you're saying about the move inputs, it's like, well, we're a new thing. We can do whatever we want. When it comes to communities and tournaments, when you're entering the fighting game space, there's a certain template and certain decorum you need to like hopefully navigate. And that is to let communities become communities. And they might be used to that, doing that in the League of Legends world. It's very different in fighting games.
In the weird, kooky, and wacky League of Legends world or whatever.
Yeah.
Where no one's allowed to play anything they want to play, apparently. I hope we're getting that right.
I hope so.
But in my head, it's like outside of casual people playing like on Twitch or whatever, I never... everything for League of Legends always seems really controlled and official all the time.
That's the only impression I'm pulling, is that it feels like a lot of these things that are broadcast, and if not big tournaments, I don't know if all of them are Riot focused, but it sort of seems like that might be the case. Don't want that to be the case by any means, but this is coming from somebody's offhand impressions of playing it at a trade show where they couldn't show anything at all, and it's just like written text format. So there's it's still far away, and things can change.
It is very far away, yeah. There's also, they mentioned that Riot esports competitions are not famous for high prize money, which I Like, wait, what?
Who announces that?
Yeah, I'm like, no, because they technically are. They are pretty high prize money compared to other FGC games, but they said they want to make Project L. They want to help players that play Project L seriously to become stars instead of simply giving high prize money. Those star players can earn more money through endorsements or sponsorships.
Exposure, then.
Yeah, they're hoping Project L can help exposure over prize money. So maybe, I don't know if prize money will, like high prize money will be a thing. We might not see a $1 million Project L tournament at all.
Listen, we don't actually need to pay these FGC guys.
Yeah, we don't. We got the exposure. We can let you do like a collaboration with Pokimane, and that should be good enough. For you.
That'll launch you into the stratosphere.
Are there tournaments going to be called like Project L, the Battle for Exposure?
Project L, maximum exposure.
Maximum exposure.